Hi, Kayla.
Hi, Ayu.
Uh, Kayla, how have you been lately?
I've been really busy working and nothing special, just the same days. What about yourself?
Um, yeah, I think just daily life, work, like exercising, meeting friends.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay, so today I invited Kayla to talk about child. And the reason why I invited Kayla is because I think I just felt that Kayla is interested in education and child
Yeah.
when I talked with her in the past. So yeah. So Kayla, could you read the questions? We're gonna upload the questions in the description box. So could you start from number one?
Okay, sure. Discuss the unique characteristics children have compared to teenagers and adults. What do people mean when they say someone is childish or childlike?
Yeah. So I think children, teenagers, adults, they are all different.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we discuss the unique characteristics of children?
Mm-hmm. Me go first.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Okay. When I read this question, I
Mm-hmm.
came up with one joke about the differences between children and adults. And when you sprint for the short distances, then
Mm-hmm.
it means you are a child,
Oh.
but you are an adult if
Mm-hmm.
you walk. And
Oh.
then, yeah, because I've really seen that students sprint to the doors when
Mm-hmm.
the class is over, when
Mm-hmm.
I worked at the English 학원
Mm-hmm.
before.
Mm-hmm.
But I doubt that your students don't do that, right?
Ah.
They just walk to the door. But
Mm.
I can see that children are more energetic, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they don't really think about their behaviors,
Mm. That's
right?
right.
Yeah, right. So, like, let's say if they want to play in a puddle on a rainy day,
Uh-huh.
and they just do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But others don't do that because
Ah.
we worry about if our clothes get dirty, and then we
Mm-hmm.
also worry about what other people think about us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because people might think that we are crazy.
Mm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I think teenagers begin to think what others perceive them.
Mm-hmm.
So because that's why they become more self-conscious and careful about their actions,
Mm.
and they are influenced by their friends. So when their friends think that some actions are not cool, they probably don't do that actions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then as we get older, I think we become more careful about what we say and what we think. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the biggest differences between children and adults.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a perfect explanation of the three. I especially like your description about running to the door.
hmm
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think children are more impulsive and they don't really have this, they don't persevere, they don't endure much.
Yeah,
So
right.
yeah, so they have to do what they want to do immediately.
Mm-mm. Yeah, right.
And that's related to what you said about like energy. They're very energetic
hmm
and they rarely sit down on the chair and like concentrate on class.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And
They tend to focus on their instinct more than like social acceptance, right?
right, right, that's right. And the thing you mentioned about teenagers, I think peer pressure is so huge.
hmm
So um I think how friends perceive you is the world to them. So rather
Right.
than getting recognition from your teachers or parents, looking cool and hip uh like from your friends is more important.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, I think you fully mentioned about children and teenagers, so why don't I talk about adults?
Okay.
Yeah, because I teach adults.
Mhm, mhm,
Um, as you mentioned, adults are more like are quieter and
mhm,
calm, and uh, I personally like adults the most
mhm,
because I'll give you a story of about like feedback.
mhm. Okay.
So I think in middle, like elementary and middle school, I think teachers who are kind of like pretty or like kind of tall or
Mhm,
like good looking, they were really popular and they were like fans who like secretly loved the teacher. And rather than the teaching skills, I think students idolize the teachers.
mhm.
And I think the popularity of the teacher was very important. But as I'm teaching adults, I think the teaching skill and the content is more important.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so um, I think when they give feedbacks, I think elementary school students would say, "Oh, I don't like the teacher because she's so ugly," or like, "I don't like her personality." But like adults say, "Oh, I don't like your class because your class lacks this and this and that." So I think they're more objective.
Mhm.
So I think that's the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's because adults have a certain goal to achieve.
Mm.
And then we sign up uh, the 학원
Mm-hmm.
to get a higher score. And then
Yeah.
the skills of teachers are more important than appearance, of course. But
Yeah. Yeah.
children in the public school, they don't care,
Mm.
right? Because they don't have to get a certain
Mm-hmm.
certificate or um, uh, the I wouldn't say they have lesser purpose of the exam, but they because the teenagers students also work hard on their scores. But
Mm-hmm.
when we talk about the younger students, like elementary school students, they are free from this kind of stress,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they just happily perceive things what as it is, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Hmm.
And um like because you don't really care about how people think about you, they I think are happier and they're more innocent and they
Right,
have more like freedom.
right.
Of course, adults are more polite, but they may have to always think about their reputation and how people perceive them. So it could be a little bit stressful.
Hmm.
Yeah. And the next question is, what do people mean when they say someone is childish or childlike?
Hmm. I think about one um stories with my nephew.
Mm-hmm.
So the other day I went grocery shopping with my sister and her son, who is
Mm-hmm.
my nephew.
Mm-hmm.
And when a bored guy
Mm-hmm.
passed by,
Mm-hmm.
my nephew said loudly, "대머리."
Oh my God.
I was like, what? And then, but I can understand him because he's only like a 4 years old boy, and then he hasn't learned the kind of comments can hurt others' feelings, right?
Mhm.
So I think that's differences between children and adults again, because adults we got to learn
Mhm.
what kind of comments are not acceptable and or not. So if even we are grown up,
Mhm.
still make this kind of offensive comment, then I
Mhm.
think that is childish behavior.
Yeah, right. We learn what to say and what not to say. And like even like when you're over 30 years old, you still like rudely comment about someone's appearance or like someone's like about someone. I think that's childish.
Yeah, yeah. And then maybe responsibility on what we do
Yeah.
can be. also the thing to judge this person is childish or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have certain responsibilities about our work, our relationships. But if someone wants to do whatever they want, without thinking about impact on their behaviors,
Mm-hmm.
then I can also say that the person is childish.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's totally true. I mean, when we work, we always have to have responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so child like responsibility is also so true. Um, what about like childlike people? What kind of people are they?
I thought that childish and childlike are the synonyms.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah. Do you find these two words are different?
Um, I think childish has a negative connotation
Mm-hmm.
and childlike has a positive meaning.
Oh, I see. Like
Yeah, so
innocent
yeah,
and
right.
naive in a good way. Okay.
Yeah. So someone I a childlike like childlike person may be a person who be like surprised by someone's present, like really like they could be really moved by someone's kindness really like easily.
I see.
Yeah, they have this how could I say? They have this youth and they have this very innocence in their heart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think when we get older, we don't get surprised by things a lot, but uh, they have this kind of childlike characteristics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I also want to mention about one characteristic of childish people.
Mm-hmm.
I think childish people tend to uh, cling to their partner or rely on their partner.
Mm-hmm.
So I think children, they always have their parents and they protect them.
Yeah.
So they don't earn money by themselves. They are under the roof of their parents' house. So I think childish people, they want to rely on their like romantic partner or friends, and they are not fully independent. So yeah, childish people are like that. And actually, I think everybody has that kind of part in themselves.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and because we are like very imperfect human being,
Mm-hmm.
and um but I think as we grow up, we could like remove these kind of parts and just be more like a an adult.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Do you have anyone around you who is very childlike?
Childlike. Mm. Mm. I don't know because most of my friends got married and they some of them are already mother
Mm-hmm,
of their
mm-hmm,
child.
mm-hmm.
So when I meet up with them, it's hard to find childlike
Ah,
aspect of them anymore.
mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, because they have to educate their child and they have to be a parent.
yeah. They have to be an adult first,
Uh-huh.
to be a mom. So these days it's hard to find someone childlike. Do you have anyone around you?
Childlike people. Um, I'm not gonna say her name, but there is this member in our Sumoim app.
I see.
Yeah, she whenever I see her, she smiles so bright, like brightly. So she doesn't have this kind of smile that like a broken smile, like a smile that is like corrupted by this world. But she has
Mm,
this like very innocent, like bright smile. And like whenever I see her, it's like looking at a sunshine.
I see.
Yeah, so and the things that she talk about is not about like money or investing things in stocks, but she's really interested in changing like children's life with education.
Wow.
And
Mm-hmm.
like her eyes are like kind of sparkling.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I see her, oh, she's really childlike.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just remember the one moment with my
Mhm.
mom.
Mm-hmm.
One day my mom just asked me to come over and then told me like, look at these. These are like, how can I say? In Korean, she say 쌍계란.
Ah. Mm-hmm.
There are two egg yolks, and she was like so childlike, and I was surprised secretly because she's already in early 60s and then still
Ah,
can be excited with that minor things.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think mothers become like cuter when they get older. Yeah. Isn't that true?
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I sometimes see my mom's Kakao profile photo and she's like surrounded with flowers and like, oh, look at the flowers. It's so pretty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't we go to the second question?
Hmm.
This time I'll read it for you.
Sure.
What do you think kids in Korea generally lack compared to those in other countries? What do Korean kids need?
Mm.
Yeah, since we live in Korea, we can definitely talk about like Korean kids.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can definitely talk about Korean kids, but it's hard to answer and talk about other countries' kids because,
Yeah.
yeah, right. I only got a chance to observe kids in Singapore, and then they are
Mhm.
not that different from Korean kids. They are
Mm.
also going to multiple hagwons, and
Oh
then
my God.
yeah, academic achievement seems to be like only one goal
Mm-hmm.
for them to gain. Um, but if I can talk about what Korean kids need to do, besides going from one hagwon to another hagwon all day, I wish they could have more physical activities like
Mm-hmm.
group sports or outdoor sports because I believe that when we are physically healthy and
Mm-hmm.
then we can keep our mentality strong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't want to generalize that young teenagers are mentally weak these days, but
Mm-hmm.
um, they seem uh, not to know how to settle problems without getting guidance or support from their parents.
Mm-hmm.
So they may can learn how to solve the problems by doing these group sports because when we do sports, there
Mm-hmm.
are times that we can not predict what happened, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So maybe they can learn the kind of risk management skills
Oh.
or socializing skills
Oh.
because these days the family has only child.
Mm-hmm.
So uh I assume that it will be harder to learn how to
Mm-hmm.
mingle with others for them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point. I think uh I think kids, of course, they have friends in their hagwon and school, but
Hmm.
they are mostly like competitors. And
Yeah.
students from young, they are evaluated by their grades, their
Hmm.
family background, and they get immense stress from it. And by engaging in sports, they can release their stress. Also, as you mentioned, they can learn problem solving skills
Hmm.
because sports is always like unpredictable.
Yeah, right.
And yeah, so and as you mentioned, when we move our body affects it affects our mind.
True.
Yeah, and if we always sit down in the chair for hours and hours, I think um, kids they just get really like unmotivated and
Hmm.
unenthusiastic. So it definitely affects their mind. So I think group sports is a very good way,
Yeah.
especially for like male students.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think everybody has this urge to like attack people, like not like
Mhm.
physically like kill or hurt people, but I think people have this like negativity inside and they have to let it out with healthy activities.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard that that's the reason why when the teachers teach young kids
Mm-hmm.
clear the papers so that they can that is the like somehow the
Mm.
way to release their stress. And I was like, oh wow, that's interesting.
Share the paper.
Here. Yeah.
Tear the paper. Ah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I heard that like there is a class where you put students in a classroom,
Mm-hmm.
but the classroom is the whole like wall is covered with paper and you like draw and
Yeah, right.
print like paint on the wall and they just release their anger and stress.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. Because my sister always share the photos of my nephew in the group talk, and then she brings my nephew to like a various community center, and then they have really fun classes like as
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned that they can paint they can like spread paint all over the wall,
Mm-hmm.
or they can like there are seaweed on the floor and then they can just touch and learn.
Oh,
I heard that that's like a 쪽감 놀이,
uh-huh.
so enhance their sense of feelings.
Mm.
Yeah. So I think these days I feel like the kids have more opportunities to learn various things compared to
Mm.
my generation.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we need to have these like devices and tools to release our stress.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we don't have that, kids can release their stress in a very um destructive way.
Yeah, right.
In a Korean drama called Sky Castle, which
Mm-hmm.
aired like several years ago,
Mm-hmm.
there was this scene where kids go to these convenience stores and steal products.
Mm-hmm.
And when they were caught, they said, "Oh, it's my way of releasing stress." And they can also bully other people. And I think bullying is very, very serious these days.
Yeah, right.
And um, because since young, you have to compete. And people who, like students who don't get enough like love from their parents or recognition, they don't know how to deal with this anger. And
Mm,
like they just like punch their classmate or like, but it could traumatize a human's life forever, right?
of course. Yeah,
So
right.
I think, as you mentioned, those kind of activities very necessary.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hmm, what else can we talk about? Like kids. Hmm, as you mentioned about those activities, I think kids also should go participate in a lot of volunteer work
Yeah. Yeah.
because of course, like it's their choice whether to do that in the long term or not. But if you meet people who are in need, I think they will have a very different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, especially in students in Daechidong or like very wealthy areas, they don't get to meet people who have like lower social status or but if they meet those people, I think they could have like a new perspective towards people. Yeah.
Yep.
And one thing that I want to add, I think debate is also a very good activity for kids.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I participated in debate competitions when I was in high school. And
Wow.
since I was a nerd, I just love debating because debate is like a mental way of fighting. Like it's like a intelligence fight. So
Yeah,
you
I got it.
and debate competition, it's mostly done in team.
Mm-hmm.
So you also learn social skills because you have to cooperate with your teammates,
Mm-hmm.
and you also learn how to be more logical, and you have to learn how to persuade people, and you have to have confidence and English skills. So I think it's a perfect way for kids to who are very who are nerds. It will be really helpful for them.
Yeah, I agree with you because I am wondering where these days kids learn to think logically
Mm-hmm,
because it happened to our generations too because we are so used to handle the given task with
mm-hmm,
given way of process, right?
mm-hmm,
So we have to follow the process to handle some issues or problems. But the thing is when like we mentioned about the sports, when the unpredicted issues happen,
mm-hmm,
then we don't know how to solve it because there is no right answers, right?
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
then to tackle these issues, we need to know how we start to think logically and get our system to tackle the issues.
mm-hmm,
But I'm like a really worrying about the kids these days, how
mm-hmm,
they gonna learn the kind of skills from
mm-hmm,
because when they go school, public school or 학원, all the answers are already given, right? They just need to know how to get answer faster in the limited time.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, there is one thing Korean kids short um these days. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, it makes me think a lot. Uh, I think the safest way to succeed in Korea is becoming a doctor.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
If you become a doctor, you're you're guaranteed that you're intelligent, you're rich,
Mm-hmm.
and you have social status. So
Mm-hmm.
it's because you have all these three, you are very likely to get married with a beautiful woman.
Mm-hmm.
So um I see a lot of Tetudong kids preparing to become a doctor when they are like elementary school kid and they finish the high school math already
Yeah.
and they didn't choose it. Their mom and dad chose it. So
Mm-hmm.
they might think the only way for me to be happy and to please my mom and dad and to be a good person in the society is becoming a doctor.
That's pathetic.
Yeah, of course, doctor guarantees a lot of things, but there are a lot of ways to be happy, and there are so many diverse ways of living this society,
Mm-hmm.
but they get to not experience that.
Mm-hmm.
And if they become a doctor, they could get that, but I think they will really like ignore other people. Yeah, and
Mm.
like, oh, you didn't study. I'm a doctor. Like, what can you do? Like, you should just study. Of course, like studying guarantees success, but I think they
Mhm.
will not respect other people's lives.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
so dark about our society.
yeah. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so why don't we go to the third question? Kayla, could you read it?
Okay, sure. Why do you think new couples in Korea are reluctant to give birth despite the fact that the government has promised to financial help households? What are other psychological factors that have contributed to the low birth rate? Mm.
Yeah.
You sigh.
Yeah. Kayla, what do you think about it?
I actually had to dive deep in these questions
Mm-hmm.
because I think it depends the answer varies depends on why Korean couples are reluctant to have children first. Is it
Mm-hmm.
because they think they don't want to, or is it because they think that they don't think they can?
Mm.
So if they don't want to have children, it might be because um that because family is no longer core value in Korean society.
Mm.
Like having a family used to be a mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
part of life for
Mm-hmm.
everyone
Mm-hmm.
back then. And then if you uh, were not married, or
Mm-hmm.
if you didn't have a child,
Mm-hmm.
even though you got married, people suspect that you have some issues, right?
Ah.
Yeah. But these days, there are many people who just live with their parents or alone or with their pet, or they got people get married but decided to be a dink, which is double income with no kids, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So having a family is no longer mandatory option.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, so it's not I mean, it's not a duty, it's an option. It becomes
Mm-hmm.
optional. So I can tell there is no peer pressure to have a family because like different types of lifestyles is acceptable
Yeah.
these days.
Mm-hmm.
So even though you are single, it's okay to be single these days.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you decided not to have a kid,
Mm-hmm.
uh, that can be also acceptable. Nobody gonna question like why you don't have a kids anymore,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this kind of social phenomenon and lifestyles change how people think about the family.
Mm-hmm.
But if you uh, don't have a child
Mm-hmm.
because if you think that you can't, then I think that's a different story. That can be related to their ability to raise a child.
Mm-hmm.
So earlier I mentioned that there is no peer pressure to have a child, but I
Mm-hmm.
think there is another type of peer pressure among those with kids.
Mm-hmm.
So they married couple might think that they need necessary
Mm-hmm.
resources to raise a child. For example, maybe a brand new apartment and enough money to send their children to 학원, or mm, more time to spend time with their children, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sadly, if people don't think that they don't have these resources, then I think they just give up and don't
Mm-hmm.
want to give a shot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very great explanation.
Mm-hmm.
And while listening to your story, I think it's
Mm-hmm.
all related to the fact that people don't want to sacrifice anymore. Yeah, they don't
Yeah.
want to because if you form a family, you have to like if you form a family and have kids, there's so much tuition fee going on. And um if you live with your husband or wife, you have to kind of sacrifice a little bit, not in a negative way, but you can't like you have to, how could I say? Anyways, a sacrifice is needed, but I think people in the younger generation, they just like freedom and they don't want to be bothered. And that's why they choose to go dink or not marry. Yeah.
But I'm kind of sad that having a family is a sacrifice.
Uh-huh.
But actually, I don't know where it comes from. I don't think having a family is not a
Uh-huh.
sacrificing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think it's also um depends on like how we see the world and
Uh-huh.
family.
Mm.
So when you have a negative perception uh about our society and having a family, then of course we don't want to have a child
Mhm.
because this world is not a good place to live in. Then we don't want to
Yeah,
let
yeah.
our children go
Mhm.
through the tough life as
Mhm. Mhm.
we do, right? But um, this is my wish. I wish that more people think that this world is worth living and having a family is such a pleasure.
Hmm.
And I think if we have this kind of consensus, then I think more people are willing to have a family.
Yeah, that's right. Um, that's actually what I wanted to talk
Hmm.
about,
Hmm.
because the question is, the government has promised to give a large amount of money to these newlywed couples, but
Hmm.
still, the low birth rate is not being fixed. And
Hmm.
one of the reasons I think many Korean people were not that happy in their family, so they just don't want to make their kid experience this life, go through this
Yeah.
again. And um, maybe I'm pessimistic, but I kind of felt this way a little bit, because in Korea, I think I was very had this like high anxiety in my like throughout my life.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, of course, people like, I also went to church. Like, God loves me as who I am, but like parents don't like secretly expect me to be very outstanding. And like the I don't know, like I just nobody forced me to do anything, but I just felt this very high anxiety. So I don't know. I growing up, I think I wasn't really comfortable in my skin.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
if I have to see my kid go through that again, I just might just not have kids. So I'm not saying that my life was miserable 100%,
Hmm. Hmm.
but looking at my kid have to deal with that alone is so sad. And as you mentioned, I think how we interpret the world,
Matters.
yeah, is important.
Hmm. Hmm.
But personally, I feel the main reason why people are reluctant to have babies, maybe there could like there could be this kind of psychological factor.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
I think having a baby is very everyone. I just personally believe that if you are married to a person that you love,
Hmm.
wanting to have a baby is very natural. But
True.
you intentionally cutting it off,
Hmm.
there's some meaning behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when we decide whether to do this thing or not, I
Hmm.
think the most important thing is confidence. Like
Hmm.
if I can do it or not.
Hmm.
I feel like mostly people don't think that they can raise a child and they can build a happy family.
Mm.
That's really sad. And you also mentioned that your parents might like wish secretly you
Mm.
to be more successful. But I don't think so. I think they just want you to be happy and that's all.
Mm, yeah.
Maybe that's just coming from your inner voice.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Everybody is raised in different family,
Mm-hmm.
but I think no, I'm never blaming my mother and father for that, but I think still in Korean society, what kind of school or what kind of job your kids have is it's like a it's like something they talk about for the rest of their life, and something they brag about for the rest of their life to their friends. My daughter is a doctor. My daughter went to Harvard. Like, and do you know there was this news that uh like a parent put on her like car, like, my
Mm-hmm.
son is a doctor. Like there was a sticker or badge, and like people were annoyed by it, and that was like really cute, but I don't know. But life is mine and I made the choice. So it's but yeah, but still, I think in Asian household, it's really hard to like survive.
Yeah, true, true,
Yeah,
true.
there is this invisible pressure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I talked about this the other day when we had a meetup. I think it was your, I forgot. I think it was my session. And
Mm-hmm.
then I think I talked to you. I was kind of feeling down
Mm-hmm.
right after I came back to Korea because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
saw that I feel like I have to be something.
yeah.
Yeah. I have to have this amount of money. I have to have this type of car, depends on my income.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this kind of garbage a lot on YouTube or social media. And then I was 100% influenced. And then my mentor also be influenced by that.
Mm-hmm.
But I came to the uh, realization that all I need to do is just shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
I That was me, like
Mm-hmm.
chose to see that comment and then chose to believe that.
Mm-hmm.
But now I don't believe it anymore. I have my own speed and pace of living my life. But
Mm-hmm.
but I do understand it's hard to like shut other bullshit on social
Mm-hmm.
media.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we just need to learn how to ignore the kind of things, negative comments and like
Mm-hmm.
controversial ideas. Yeah, I think again I think it's because of the social media. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We are too exposed to see other people's lives every day,
Mm-hmm.
and then we mislead it, misunderstand that that is the life of their life. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, they don't go to omakase every day, right? They just go omakase maybe once in their lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
But because we see that a lot on social media, we get to believe that other people have luxurious life every day, but why I'm not having this kind of luxuries. So the first thing is we have to um uh like clarify which is good, which is fact, and yeah, but it's hard to change all of this system, right? We
Mm-hmm.
cannot ask people um stop using social media at once, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually related to the fourth question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So I will read it for you.
sure.
Yeah, if you were a parent, what is the most important lesson you want to give your children? In doing so, which type of activities are you going to let your kids engage in?
Mm-hmm. Do you have a one?
Mm, I think you mentioned about like leading a very luxurious life.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think everybody wants dream in their lifetime. Oh, what if I'm really rich? And
Sure.
that's nothing problematic. Everyone can imagine about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But as you live, you realize that there are things that are more precious, but
Mm-hmm.
things that are not really visible. And uh so I feel like I just also, of course I want to be rich in the future, but being rich is not my like ultimate goal in my life.
Yep.
And but in Korean society, many people judge people over that. And so I want my children to have this very strong mentality
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
strong inner peace
Mm-hmm.
that could never be bothered by like the society.
Mm-hmm.
She's not like a god, so she can never like she can not be unbothered, but like she
Mm-hmm.
could not be dominated by it, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's what I really want my kid to have. And there is this thing that I saw on TV like a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
This girl had like a very black uh skin problem.
Birthmark.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like black kind of scar on her face.
Mm-hmm.
So like half of her face was covered like with black like skin problem. And like growing up, her parents always, uh, when they were walking in the street, they would always walk with her in a very bright and crowded area.
Yep.
And they never really made her like go into like the sidewalks or like cover her up. And so she grew up in a very confident, bright girl. And it was kind of moving to me because uh I think growing up, I think I tend to always hide my insecurities or hide things that are not like very like proud about myself, whether it's appearance or anything. But uh I just loved her confidence. She was really bright.
I
Yeah,
see.
yeah. Yeah, and I want my children to feel that they are just loved as who they are, because if they don't have that sense of security for the rest of their lifetime, have they will want to prove that they are successful, rich, and blah blah blah. But I think the first start comes from the love of the parents. Of course, I'm not God, so I'm not perfect, but at least I could give like good love.
So how would you teach that lesson to your child? You can't just
Mm,
keep repeating the same thing, right?
yeah,
Love yourself, right?
I once read in a book
Mm-hmm.
uh, written by a psychiatrist,
Mm-hmm.
and he said kids know whether their parents really love them or not by their actions.
Of course.
So if they say I love you, but they don't keep their word and don't devote their time and energy to their kids, they know that the kids know that the parents are lying.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the best strategy is not saying that I love them, just showing that I love them by my actions and my my behavior, my actions. I think that's the best way.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to talk with my kids a lot about their life, like what did you do at school, and that's giving attention to the kids, right?
Yeah, sure.
So through that way, they will be really like they will feel that they're respected, that they will feel that parents are interested in me. And also like I just want to compliment them a lot, like whether it's a small thing. Of
Mm-hmm.
course I can't guarantee myself I would do that because I'm also an imperfect tired human being, but I will try to.
Yeah, yeah. I think spending a lot of time with our child will definitely help to make them confident in the way they are. Yeah.
Mm,
And of course, giving a lot of compliments is also important
mm,
because they are very young. They are like a
mm,
sponge.
mm,
They accept everything like so
mm,
quickly, even bad comments and good comments.
mm,
And if we can like feel, I cannot say feel because they are not object, but let's say if we can feel that creature,
mm,
this cute creature with loving energy, um, should be yeah important, and then make
mm,
children
mm,
feel confident and become um, kind person.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you on this question?
Um, I thought about the famous psychiatry in Korea, Dr.
Mm.
Oh Young. She
Ah,
yeah often mentions that the purpose of parenting is children's physical and psychological independence.
mhm,
I can't agree with her more
mhm,
because parents can't be there for their children forever. And then at the end of the day, we have to be alone and
mhm,
independent, right?
mhm, mhm,
So I think the most important thing is that children need to know how to organize and manage their lives on their own.
mhm, mhm,
So like every company has the management, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
think the good company is the company where managers make good decisions.
Mm,
Yeah. So being independent means for me, making better decisions
mm,
in whenever whatever happens.
mm-hmm.
So to make better decisions, I think they need to learn naturally from their life experiences
Mm-hmm.
because it's not written in the book. And then even though we read books, it's hard to practice in our real life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna ask or encourage my children to experience as many things as they can, or um like experience or just hang hang out with as many people as they can. Like for example, when you see many people, chances are there are bad people, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that will be heartbreaking if my child gets hurt from somebody or gets cheated or something, something bad thing happen. But I
Mm-hmm.
believe that that experience will make children learn what's the best for them.
Mm-hmm.
So when the similar thing happen, they know how to handle the issues, and then
Mm-hmm.
maybe they just uh know to differentiate the bad people from good people, and then eventually they know how to keep good people around them. Yeah.
Mm. Like they need to have this insight whether this person will harm me or not.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah, right. And I think, yeah, as you mentioned, like children have to be uh mentally and financially independent. And so and personally, I don't really want to say anything to my kid because um it's really embarrassing if I don't keep my word and always say to my kids, and they will think, "Oh, you're so contradictory. You don't really keep your word. Like, why do I have to follow you?" And
Yeah,
so
right.
I don't want to force or teach or anything to them. It's just their choice. Do whatever
Mm-hmm.
you want, except
Mm-hmm.
for crime.
Of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the last one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, could you read it one more time, number 5?
Sure. Children have this useful energy that makes people instantly smile. What kind of useful features you want to revive in yourself?
Yeah.
This is really easy to answer
Oh.
because every time I hang out with my nephew and niece, I always envy them, envy their energy, and especially their curiosity. They are
Mm-hmm,
curious about the world.
mm-hmm,
So it happened when we visited my mom's friend's garden. So
mm-hmm,
she has a big garden and she raises some animals like a goat, black goat, or
mm-hmm,
dog or chicken. And then we just hung around the garden, and then we saw a butterfly. And then my nephew was like, wow, there is a butterfly. And then he just kept looking for it.
mm-hmm.
Of course, I felt the same. Oh, this is butterfly and this is so beautiful. But I just kept going my way. But he was like stick on the garden and then looking for that butterfly. And then I was like, oh my gosh, he is so, how do I say? He is so excited about small things.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then the small things can make him happy, right? But I don't know, I feel like as we grow up, we have to do a lot of things to make ourselves happy, right? We have to maybe go drinking or just meeting up with friends, or maybe we need to spend some money to feel better, right? But
Mm-hmm.
for these kids, they just need to be in nature. Then
Mm-hmm.
they just instantly find the joy
Mm-hmm.
the word, and I was like, oh my God, that's really nice. And then I always tell my sister saying that their 가성비 is really good.
Ah, mm,
He just need a butterfly, then he becomes happy.
ah,
Yeah,
yeah. So I think small things can make us happy.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I think as an adult, we always have this youthful energy inside and sometimes we need to just like look at the butterfly flying like nearby and we could just be, oh, today's a happy day. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
right. What kind of useful features I want to revive in myself? Mm, I just want to lose this pessimism. Like while I'm talking to you,
Mm,
I get to look back at what I said,
mm-hmm,
and I think I'm indirectly always criticizing the society and people.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
like, there's a word called namtat in Korea. Like, so I think that's like a very habitual thing.
Uh-huh.
And as you mentioned, like it's up to us how to deal with this. And nobody really forced me to do anything. And there are like people who are evil and there are things that are unjust in the society, but I can't always ramble about like how
Mm-hmm,
evil
mm-hmm,
the society is. So I
mm-hmm,
think it's just my choice and I just want to yeah, be like just less conscious about myself.
mm-hmm,
Really
mm-hmm,
hard, but yeah, because children they don't really think about how other people like perceive them.
mm-hmm. True.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's so natural. I heard that from somewhere, like a people being anxiety and negative is our strategy to be survive. Yeah. So we are programmed to think negatively than positively. So
Mhm.
that's so natural.
Yeah.
Hmm. Maybe you have like a higher desire to be survive in this tough world.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. But as more I live, I feel like you can't get everything in this like life.
Mm-hmm.
And there are things that you have to just lose
Mm-hmm.
because it's like give and take. And I always like complained about like I want to have everything, but I can't. But like you can't get everything, and yeah, and you have to just accept that. And um, lastly, I just want to say I want to be a more happy, smiley teacher.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because whenever I enter the classroom, I think I didn't have any like facial expression,
Mm-hmm.
and all I did was just delivering the content to these students.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like I'm not really communicating with these students. So um, I just want to be more smiley, energetic,
Mm-hmm.
and I think students will also feel that. So although it's like a fake smile, like although I'm intentionally trying to smile, I think even faking happiness can make you happy. Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
yeah,
heard that.
yeah. So that's my first step.
Yeah. You can do it. We can
Yeah.
do it.
Kayla,
Wow, this was really intense. Yeah.
yeah. So thank you, Kayla, for coming here and talking about like children.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you have this photo on our like app where you are with your maybe like is it your nephew? Yeah.
Yeah, nephew.
Yeah. So I just felt like, oh, you're really interested in kids, and I think you really like this innocence of these kids. So that's why I really wanted to discuss this topic with you.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I've been feeling these days with my nephew. Like I got to think about why others do this while the children don't do like that. And I was glad that you asked me to join this session to talk about kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kayla. So there is some audience in my YouTube channel. Yeah. So let's say bye-bye to these subscribers.
Bye bye, subscribers.
Bye-bye.